Why is it that you have a detailed plan but struggle to take action? You've written your plan 3 times, you've watched 5 more strategy videos, and yet you still feel like you don't have what it takes to achieve your goal, to make the progress you want to make. In this video, I'm going to talk about why overplanning feels productive and why it's actually the reason you're feeling stuck, stalled, and not making the progress you want, and why you keep second guessing yourself. And then I'm going to show you how you can go from overplanning to taking action in less time. Here's the thing, planning feels safe, but making a decision or taking action feels risky. Have you ever told yourself, I just need one more day to think about it, and then that day turned into 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years? You kept adjusting the details, tweaking the outline, or maybe even color coding it. But deep down, you knew you were avoiding pressing send, pressing post, or launch. It wasn't confusion, it was protection. When you're constantly planning, it keeps you in private mode. And what do I mean by that? When you're constantly planning, no one can judge you because nothing is public. You're working quietly behind the scenes where your ideas are safe from criticism and anybody talking about what you're doing. But deciding makes your intentions visible. And the moment you decide, your direction becomes real. And when something becomes real, it can now be evaluated. And here's the thing, that visibility then turns into judgment. Being seen means people get to have opinions about what you're doing. And for high achievers, the possibility of disappointing others can feel heavier than the comfort of staying stuck. And this is why you've been struggling to take action. This fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of criticism, or whatever people have to say makes you avoid taking the action you know you need to take to get to where you want to go. So here's what you can do. If this decision won't affect you negatively, permanently for the rest of your life, use 48 hours to choose. Set yourself a deadline. 48 hours, choose, and move on. And if you want to go from overthinking and overplanning to taking action, you can comment the word clarity, and I'll send you a free 2-minute quiz to help you do just that. When you've been in the habit of overplanning or overthinking, you tend to confuse activity with progress. So you'll sit down to work on your biggest goal, but instead, you reorganize your desktop, you clean out your inbox, you adjust your calendar. You may even buy a new productivity app. And at the end of the day, you're tired, you're exhausted, and you're frustrated. But if someone asked you, what actually moved forward? Did you make the progress you wanted to make for your goal? You'd struggle to answer. You were busy, but not brave enough to take action. And you find yourself rewriting your plans, writing your plans, and it feels like control. But what's actually happening is that revising your plan, it gives you an illusion that you're improving it to take action faster. But refining a document is not the same as making progress towards the goal. Now, you may end up organizing tools to feel more productive. And here's why. Switching planners or reformatting your workflow, it feels energizing and it's exciting. But tools don't create momentum. You only get momentum by taking action. And then, instead of taking action, you let learning replace executing. So you watch another training, and it feels responsible at the time. But when learning replaces implementation, it only becomes sophisticated procrastination. So here's what you can do. At the end of every planning session, Schedule one extremely specific, actionable task you can do within 24 hours. And then do it. Overplanning is just fear in disguise. I had a client tell me, I just want to make sure it's perfect before I launch, before I put it out there, before I put myself out there. And when I asked, so what would happen if it wasn't perfect and you put it out there? She said, then people will know I'm not as good as they think. And that's when I realized her problem wasn't strategy. It was fear that was holding her back and keeping her stuck. Here's the thing. Overplanning feeds fear of failure. And that type of failure, it's that type of failure that feels like evidence that you weren't capable after all. So you keep planning, but you never take action. Or you struggle to take action. Or you take action, but you struggle to be consistent. Overplanning also feeds fear of rejection. And when you execute on a plan and when you take action, you risk hearing no, no. But staying in preparation mode or planning mode sort of protects you from that discomfort. So instead of taking action, you'd rather spend more time tweaking, and adjusting your plan to make it perfect before moving forward. Overplanning then feeds fear of not being good enough. Higher performers usually tie performance to worth. So if they aren't performing well, they believe it's because they aren't good enough. And they begin to feel worthless. Even if they are skilled, capable, and have the experience, it's like if the outcome isn't exceptional, it feels personal. So planning then becomes a shield against that feeling of not being good enough or not being capable or not being as good as someone else. So here's what you can do. If you're struggling with that, write down the exact fear in one sentence because naming it weakens it. You can say, I'm afraid that blank, whatever outcome you are afraid of. And then I want you to write down one thing, one action you can take right now to overcome that fear. And if this video was helpful, go ahead and subscribe and share it with a friend who might need this. And if you want some practical strategies to make a decision so you can make the progress you want, to turn your skills into income, to achieve your goals in less time, check out this video right here. And I'll see you in the next one.